Hello everyone and welcome back to eSailGP, the world's fastest virtual sail racing. Today, this is the last qualifier final in Cádiz, where we find out which player will be taking a spot in our grand final next week. Last time in Saint-Tropez, VIT Farley had a stunning performance where he managed to clinch that penultimate spot. Let's find out who will be battling it out, find out who will be taking part in the grand final. Before that, let's talk to Deja Vu, who's got some tips and tricks for our players.
Hi, I'm Michael Donovan. I'm the 2020 eSailGP champion, and this is my guide to a great start in virtual regatta. You want to make sure to cross the start line with maximum speed. The best way to do this is to start from the back of the start box to get the maximum run up. Try and get as close to the start line as possible when the timer hits 0. You can time your acceleration using this time to start line race help in virtual regatta. What I usually do is trigger a second or so earlier than what the time to start line race help indicates. This ensures I'm never late and I can just slow down if I'm too early. You can slow your boat by flogging your sails or weaving left and right. I usually tend to weave as it allows me to maintain my speed better. But it's not always an easy option as it requires much better boat control to not hit the boats around you or to lose control of your boat. Also, make sure to make your adjustments as early as you can, otherwise you won't have enough time to build up your speed again before crossing the start line. At the end of the first reach, try to avoid rounding the mark outside of other boats if you can, as it will put you in a worse position tactically and make you sail extra distance. Getting a penalty after the go gun can ruin your start completely, so it's very important to avoid other boats. Avoiding a boat at the start of the race might lose you that one position, but getting a penalty would have cost you at least 3 or 4. The fleet size has a massive role to play on where you want to start on the start line. A start lower on the line is the way to go in large fleets, but in smaller and more competitive fleets you can start at the top with maximum speed and roll over everyone, or you can start in the middle with more punchy start and maintain good positioning. Being forward thinking and predictive is huge in the F50 and it'll be the key to help you rise above your opponents. Finally, but most importantly, don't give up if you get a bad start, as you can always make up for it in the race.
I'll be keeping an eye out to see if our players use any of those tips and tricks. And if you'd like to use any of those tricks, you can. Search Virtual Regatta Inshore on the App Store or Google Play Store. Right, it's time now to welcome back our commentators, Leo and Nathan. Hello guys, how's it going? Congratulations on clinching that top spot at Saint-Tropez. How's that race for you?
Yeah, thanks Shay. It's good to be back again, and yeah, it was an awesome event for us in Saint-Tropez. Very happy to take the win and the overall leaderboard, and we're now here in Cádiz, final event of the European season, and hoping we can make that final race again.
Awesome. And coming off the back of your win, Nathan, how can you give any tips to our players to help them clinch a win for the grand final spot?
I don't know. If it's light winds, we can definitely give them some pointers, but if it's a windy event, they probably need to ask another team. I think, watching all these SailGP stuff, it's a lot of hard to get good starts and don't get penalties. I think, Leo, every time we've seen racing where people get penalties, they don't do very well.
Nope.
It's true. Wise words there. Thank you so much, guys, and good luck. Let's take a look at who will be taking part in today's regatta. We have 4 Spanish competitors, starting off with Hector Dominguez. We have Norzet LZLN. We have C. Parejo. And finally, Joan Cardona from the Spanish SailGP team. We also have 2 French competitors, July Fra and MCES Wins 98. Following up, we have Stipes Coach Croatia, who you might have guessed is from Croatia. And finally, we have VIT Byrie, who we saw last time. Let's see if he'll manage to cinch a spot in our final this time around. Now, let's not wait any longer. It's time now for the first of the fleet races. Leo and Nathan, over to you.
We're here for race number 1. We've got 10 seconds to start line. The boats are all racked up very evenly. It looks like it's about medium breeze. And with 5 seconds to go, looks like the blue boats in the middle of the line are set up quite nicely, but the Spanish boat on the very windward side of the start got the best start, but it's actually looking like Hector Dominguez from Spain going to be first to the mark here.
And as always, straight into a job, actually going out to the boundary. It's amazingly close, that first downwind there, and this is a nice looking boat. Leo, look at the unicorn on that boat.
It's a pink boat, Spanish boats, Parejo. He's leading. The rest of the boats actually went too far and overlaid. It looks like we're going to see a few jibe turn-ups. We wouldn't be able to do that kind of maneuver easily in our F-15 but these guys are throwing the boats around quite easily.
They are, and as they go upwind, you can look at the top left-hand side of the screen, you can see the wind indicators and there's more breeze coming down. Looks like the right-hand side has done quite well here. It's amazingly close. There's another penalty, port starboard for Spanish boat there, having to drop off the foils to discard the penalty. And look at that, foiling tack, right on top of the Japanese boat. The Japanese boat's in a tough spot here, Leo.
Very
struggling
tough spot.
to tack. You know, they might get a penalty when they tack, and oh,
he called it. There was chaos at that bottom mark. Everyone took that left-hand turn and all had to tack on the boundary, and there were so many starboard tackers there. But it's all about this pink boat on first place, just sailing boundary to boundary now, keeping it clean. But he's only got a 15-meter lead advantage on this blue boat from the Czech Republic.
Yeah, you've got 3 boats here on port tack at the moment, all approaching the ley line. They'll do one more tack and go to the top mark. You can see the dotted lines on the screen indicate where the ley line is. So you'll see all these boats tack over quite soon. And once again, the right-hand side seems to be quite strong. More breeze on the right side of the course than the left side. That's bang on the ley line there for the leader. And this is where they have a chance. They either follow each other around or they can tack and go around the course in different ways.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to follow and jibe straight away, indicating there is a right-hand shift. So, you know, being on port jibe will take you close to the bottom mark, and a lot of penalties around this top mark. Everyone's hitting the mark and slowing down. John Cardona from Spain picking up a few penalties this race. I think that was his 3rd one, so very costly.
And off they go downwind, 45 knots of boat speed there. Lots of fun on the video game, way more fun when you're out on the course doing it that. 49 knots, that's going to be a very difficult roundup. Leo, how do you handle a roundup at 49 knots?
Don't really, you got to slow the boat down to be able to do it, but these guys are all over it. We see a 49 knot roundup tack there by the pink boat, very nicely executed. But a clear leader at the moment, 20-30 meter lead, and he looks like he's heading to that port boundary. The rest of the boats all go around and tack as well. It seems to be the signature move with all these boats, being able to do that, get to the boundary early.
It's interesting on that downwind, the fleet spread out quite a lot. They were really close at the first bottom mark and still close at the top mark, but now we can see pretty big lead here, over 100 meters for first position. The top 3, look pretty solidly in the top 3, and I think, with these races and the way that the SailGP works, whether it's SailGP on the water or on the video game, it's about consistently being in that top 3, trying to establish yourself for the final race.
Yeah, that's right, and these guys are all very experienced and the fleet is very tight, so if you can get top 3s in 2 of the races, then you're going to definitely make the final match race, and that's where anything can happen, as we've seen in these eSailGP regattas. But it's all the Parejo from Spain, who's got a 60-meter lead. He's got one more tack to the ley line.
There we go, taking the right-hand turn, probably go down the boundary here a bit, early jibe, and you can see they're now heading towards Mark 1. It'll be a left turn round the final mark and then a reach to the finishing line, and with a 200-meter lead, this guy's, I think, got it in the bag, right? Yeah,
unless he hits the mark or decides to not round the mark or anything, he's got it in the bag, and that'll be number 1 for race number 1. Man from Spain, unicorn on his boat, pink boat, great graphics. 2nd place looks like will be VIT Berry from the Czech Republic, and 3rd will be July France from France. So great top 3 finishes for those guys, and you see John Cardona in 4th place. Actually part of the Spanish SailGP as well, so he's doing some gaming while he's staying in the F50 as well.
I don't really find the time to do that.
No. But there it is. Parejo takes 10 points, and the rest of the fleet takes 9, 8. And looks like it's going to be all on for these next 2 races. It's going to be staying to get you into that final race. We've got some statistics here.
Yeah, you can see the statistics here. Good average speed, top speed for the leader, and you can see not the best of starts, but definitely made his move on the upwind. And from about midway through the race, that top three were very well established, a lot of snakes and ladders.
C. Parejo takes the lead in the very first race. Leo, what did you think of that race? What did you think of that performance?
Yeah, look, the start, everyone was a little bit close to the start line. There were a few OCSs, and it seems like the guy that was to lure to the start line actually came right. The early job around the reach mark was what paid off. Everyone overlaid coming into the bottom mark. So, yeah, that start is super important, and also not picking up penalties.
Awesome stuff. Well, what a great start to tonight's festivities. It's time now for the second of the fleet races. Let's see if the rest of the fleet can catch up. Leo, Nathan, it's back to you.
Here we go. We're back for race number 2. The crucial number 2. This will kind of determine who's going to actually make it into the race and who's not. If you can get a top 3 in this one, we're very happy. If you follow the pink boats come in, looks like the fleet's a little bit late this time, and they are. And it looks like the boats in the middle get a real good start. Spanish boat always got a clear lane. Looks like he could get rolled, but no, he's going to be able to get over. And the Spanish boat will be first around the mark. Early jibe. The pink boats go to the boundary.
Oh, so close to boundary penalties there. Over ley line. Spain now coming back at them on starboard. It's interesting, you had like 5 or 6 boats all in the front row there, but inevitably a couple of boats always seem to sneak into the lead. And you've got to think that he hit the mark there and tacks on the port. It's all happening now. Look at the bottom mark. It's like a car park. It's a pile up down there. Penalties going everywhere. And Spain look like they got out of that nice and clean. And right now, there's a procession on port tack. Why is everyone following each other there?
Well, it looks like it must be a left-hand shift, and they can clear the boundary actually. So it just means they do one less tack, one less manoeuvre, which is, saves a lot of meters in this type of boat. As we see that, they all tack. John Cardona is in the lead right now. He's covering the rest of the fleet on starboard, but it looks like the middle group are just all fighting and just kind of holding each other up and making it easier for the leader right now.
Yeah, right now an 80-meter lead on the first upward leg. You'd be pretty happy with plenty going on between the 2 pink boats here coming out to the boundary. They're straight into attack there, and they're a solid second and third, those 2, but the rest of the fleet, there's like 5 boats within about 30-40 meters of each other. So see a couple of wind shifts here or a couple of penalties. It's stood up quite a bit.
Yeah, it looks like it has lightened off a touch in this upwind leg, but with this eSailGP, the wind comes in very fast, so we don't know what's going to happen in this next leg. So as we see John Cardona from Spain tacking onto the ley line, see how aggressive they rip the boat down low, the lower angle to get the boat falling again.
And maybe that's what I've been doing wrong. Maybe I need to turn the boat a little bit faster and dig that bow right under the water and then watch it pop up in the air and away we go.
That's the one.
Or maybe the technique's a little bit different on eSailGP to what I'm used to doing. But either way, I'm not very good at the game, that's for sure.
As we see John Cardona, he's got a 100-meter lead now going downwind. Looks like the breeze has picked up. You can see the water is a little bit more darker and looks like he is on the ley line. The 2 pink boats are in second and third, and they're fighting each other quite hard. Who's going to get an advantage here at the bottom? We're going to see another round up tack, and we do.
And it's a follow the leader at the bottom mark. Everyone doing the same manoeuvre. We've got someone splitting there. And you can see why. If you look at the little graphic on the top left-hand side of the screen, it's windier on the right than the left. So that's why everyone is keen to get out that direction. Surprisingly, no one took the other bottom gate. Why do you think they're just happy to follow as opposed to create a split?
Well, I think that round up tack is really good because you carry a lot of speed around the bottom mark straight into attack, so you can foil out of it. And also you save a maneuver by going out to this boundary here. You can lay the boundary, which means you don't do an extra attack, and in the whole race you do 1 extra attack, which could come handy. But I guess going another the boundary, and you will be out of phase with the rest of the fleet. But with this shift looking right now, it's right-hand shift all the way. Best breeze on the right, so you have to get to that right-hand side.
Yeah, so it's interesting now. It's off one boundary going to the left-hand side. You'll see them tack over now. It's softer on the left-hand side, but to me it just looks like At least second, fourth, keeping check of each other. They're not giving any space. You can see the lighter bits of water. That's the wind shutter. That's slowing the boat behind them down. As the leader goes around the top mark here, he's got a convincing lead right now, straight into a jibe around the top mark. But the real interesting race is, second, third, fourth. Really close here. Spanish boat coming across on port tack, trying to split the fleet. But it's a bit of a procession at the moment, isn't it, Leo?
It'll just follow the leader now. The leader got his lead from the very start, and the guys are just following because to be second and third in this race is very, very. It's a keeper, right? And if you can get keepers and stay in it for the last race, then you're going to be looking pretty for the match race. But for first place, this one, it's Joan Cardona from Spain. Second place would be the pink unicorn Parejo from Spain as well.
So that's a 1-2 for them now.
Yeah, 1-2. And then French boat, July France. Another pink boat is in third place with Hector Dominguez in fourth. And Norzet LDLN from Spain. So a few Spanish teams in this qualifier.
Ooh.
MCS wins from France in seventh, and VIT Bury in eighth place. And we have someone that disconnected, but the points are very close now. We've got Parejo on 19, John Cardona on 17, and the French boat in third place. So the points are tight. So it'll be really interesting to see who makes that final match race.
Some statistics there, one boat cracked at 50. It's good to see. Once again, you see the snakes and ladders at the beginning of the race. That's where all the action happens. And then from about leg, Mark 3 onwards, it looks like noticeably changed all through. That was all the follow the leader racing, which surprises me. Fair enough if you're second or third and you're happy with where you are, but if you're fourth or fifth, surely you want to separate a bit and try and find an avenue to pass some boats.
So that's Joan Cardona taking the lead in that race. Leo, could you tell me, you mentioned some of the wind action that was going on there. Could you tell me how Joan managed to clinch the win in that race that we just saw?
Yeah, so Joan, he got a good start and he was clean at the reach mark. He didn't pick up any penalties. And then from then on, it was more the guys that were second, third and fourth. They were kind of slowing each other down. They were attacking on each other. And it just means that Joan was able to, extend a little bit and have a little bit of breathing space. And from then on, it's a lot easier. You just have to sail clean and not pick up any penalties. And that's what he did. So, yeah, easy win for Joan, but it's going to be real tight at the top now because it's just going to throw some extra spanners in there. And the last race will be really interesting.
Let's see if we can keep it up going into the final race. Nathan, who do you think is going to make it to the top two out of all of our players?
That's a tough question. We have 3 teams separated by a point each. So, I think if any of those teams can get a top 2 result, then they're going to secure themselves. I'm picking, we're in Cádiz. It's the Cádiz qualifier here, and I'm expecting 2 Spanish boats in the final.
I think you might be right. Judging by our leaderboard, we've got C. Parejo and Joan Cardona sitting at the top of the leaderboard, so you may well be correct. Right now, let's head into the third and final match race of the night.
And here we go. We're in the start sequence, 12 seconds to go. It looks like a little bit later conditions. Everyone's kind of sailing upwind towards the start line, which is probably the fastest angle. And here we go. The French boat we see on the screen. Looks like the boats are late again, and no OCSs, maybe one, but it's MCS wins from France, gets the best start. But it's the Spanish boat from the windward end of the line being able to roll everyone, and he is first to reach mark. So great start from Parejo. He's making a good case to make this final match race.
And a big right-hand shift here. It looks like everyone jibed at the mark and then laying the bottom mark. There's nothing better than when you're winning a race, making it a follow the leader course. So he's going to go straight in, go around that mark and take the lead. And once again, we're expecting a lot of leader around the body. Everyone trying to find their avenue, a bit of fresh air. Oh, some really close moments there. One penalty out of the square.
Really close, but got to keep an eye on Joan Cardona and July France here. There are, and those two are going to be fighting it out to make this match race because this lead. And we see him tap on the boundary, very close actually. It's pretty marginal to see if he was actually in the boundary there. And we see another few other boats actually getting boundary penalties for that tack. And it's John on the right hand screen, the Spanish boat moving up the fleet now.
They're not foiling, Leo. Is it that light that you can't take off? It looks like they're sailing a very high boat back there.
At the start there, I didn't think they were falling at the beginning, but now the breeze has come in. You can see the darker patches flowing through the course, so they are 24, 25 knots upwind.
It's a pretty substantial lead here at the moment for our unicorn boat. It's an impressive tacking there in the light air, straight on the ley line. The real action, I think, right now is position here, and you can see 4 boats in that pitch there. Switch up. Easy left-hand turn here decision here right now. Around the mark, straight into a jibe, and the leader is gone.
So I think the big one to look out for here is a Spanish boat and that other pink boat there. They're in 4th and 5th. And whoever beats who will make this match race, I think. So that's gone in the mark. And the Spanish boat, July France, so they're tight on points to make this match race. And there's a few other French boats going around now. The fleet is actually quite close, Nathan. It's quite tight.
It is quite close, and the breeze isn't very windy. And I think when it gets a little bit lighter, from what I've been watching here, that the tacking is nowhere near as efficient. And sometimes they tack, and they take a while to get up on the foil. And so, as we see here, the leader is gone, and second position. I'm not sure that boat's going to feature in the overalls. Our real action here is Spanish boats coming around the mark, and you can see by taking the mark there and going straight into attack is completely covering the pink boat right now, so in a controlling position from there.
Looks like it's got a ladder again, less darker patches on the water. The boats are probably going to go 22, 23 knots, which is, a little bit slow on the slower side. And as we see that, the darker spots are coming on the top left wind diagram. There is darker winds coming. 24 knots, the boat's increasing speed.
Sailing a very high angle, 35 degrees on the wind. The way is it in this game?
I'm not sure. And they got four boards down actually as well.
Maybe that's extra board that you need a bit of extra.
Oh, tight on the boundary again. The leader risking it, getting the biscuit. I don't think he needs to do that, but you see John Cardona, he's in 3rd place. He needs to cover this, he needs to beat this pink boat, and he tacks right on his face. You can see the wind shadow from his boat covering him, slowing him down. One more tack for this leader boat here. He's going to round the right gate and go for a blast to the reach mark.
Plenty of breeze now. You can see the whole course is covered in strong wind.
It's very shifty as well. The ley lines keep changing a lot. And they see John Cardona rounding the mark for the last time. 3rd place, pink boat, 4th place. We tight down to this reach mark, and it's Parejo rounds the reach mark for the last time, and it's the last reach. He'll be taking the lead, and he'll be securing his spot in the match race. VIT Bury, 2nd place, good race from him. He didn't have a good second race, but it's good that he backed it up with this one, and looks like it's going to be John Cardona in 3rd place. I think that'll be a good case for him. Nathan could be right with
there
the one
two Spanish boats in the final, if my mathematics is correct.
I'm happy they have the pink boat as well, because it'll be hard to tell if they had 2 Spanish boats in the match race. Oh, the Japanese boat doing
Tacking practice.
And there it is, that's the overall leaderboard. Parejo takes the last race, 2 wins and a 2nd for him in the qualifying series. It's very impressive, and it's Parejo and John Cardona that make it. And here's some statistics from the race.
53.2 knots on the first reach, I'm assuming. Fastest boat that didn't make the final at the end of the day. It's your best average speed, and the leader got the best average speed of 33 knots. And what a race it was.
So that's C. Parejo taking the lead for the 2nd time tonight. Nathan, I know you said we got 2 Spaniards at the very top of the leaderboard. Who do you think is going to take the final spot for our grand final?
Oh, my money's on the unicorn boat. It's had 2 firsts, and the boat looks really fast. And they've been sailing really well, having really good starts. And, I really can't wait for the action coming up.
Leo, do you have any final advice for our 2 boats going into the next final match race?
Well, if Nathan's going for the unicorn boat, I have to go for John Cardona. He's the SailGP athlete. He's a sailor on board the F50, so some of those match race skills he might be able to use that into this race now. So let's see who wins.
See who wins. We'll see which one of your predictions was correct. Let's catch up with our 2 players just before the final match race. So, Joanne, how did you get into SailGP? I can see you've got your t-shirt on.
You mean the real one or the e-sailing?
Both. Let's start with the real one first.
Well, actually, we started with the Spanish team. So I was involved in a youth team that we did the Youth America's Cup in Bermuda 2017. And then we just wanted to make a step further. So we wanted to be on the SailGP circuit, racing against the best in the world. So now here we are, preparing for the real Cádiz event.
And so how did you get into the gaming side of things?
Well, actually, I started quite a lot playing in the quarantine. Like, we were playing with all our friends. Also, we were in the team, so we think there are some similarities to the reality that we can, like, really use them for training, like using the game. So we were using them, and yeah, in the end, I was having a lot of fun. So I wanted to compete in a higher level.
Awesome. Carlos, how much time do you spend training for the qualifiers?
I don't know, but I think too much. All days I think I play like 1-2 race every day. But especially for this one, it was at the same time than playoff or world sailing. And so I trained a special more because it was an important week.
And do you do any real sailing, Carlos?
Yes, I sail in laser and radial.
And Joanne, what's your setup like? What are you playing on?
I just play on my phone, like normal phone.
Nice. And do you have any tips for any real life sailors who'd like to get into the gaming side of things? How can they pick up the game and get started?
Well, it's easy. Just contact me. I can give you some lessons. But really, you just download the game. It's easy. It's free, so you can play whenever you want. It's easy for me as well because I'm traveling a lot, so I can play on my phone. I have 15 minutes free time. I have time to make a quick regatta. So yeah, it's a good game to play. Like, if you are busy and you don't have much time, you can play whatever you want.
And Carlos, finally, do you have any plans for any other qualifiers or any other competitions? Both sailing in the game and in real life?
Yes, I use end of sailing in real life because I started in the university and I don't live near to the sea, so it's more difficult this year for me to sail. And in sailing, about SailGP, I would like to play again in the next season in the virtual regatta.
Well, good luck to you both. And Carlos, if you don't make it this time around, then we'll hopefully see you in the next season. And Joanne, I hope some of the people watching take your tips and advice. We see more sailors. Thank you very much. Before the third and final race, let's take a sneak peek at the next Racing on the Edge episode, The Wind Whisperer, which you can check out on the SailGP YouTube and Facebook pages.
You can be winning for years.
We did it!
And then you start losing.
We were so close, but we didn't get there. So that plays in the back of my mind.
Our team is fighting to survive into the next season.
Stay alive!
Shut up, Nathan. Stop moaning.
If we can win the SailGP, and that's just going to become a snowball effect for the rest of Japan.
So let's get ready. It's our final race of the evening. URL, C. Parejo and Juan Cardona going head-to-head in our final match race for our Cádiz Qualifier Final. Leo and Nathan, for the final time tonight, it's all yours.
And here we go. We've got light winds for this final match race, and we've got John Cardona. They're fishtailing. They're trying to get a leeward position to get a hook, and they're really low in the box now, coming up to this pin ley line. And the boat's actually really close. And it looks like John Cardona nearly crosses the line and gets a penalty, but advantage Parejo here. He's got speed and he's going to be able to roll. And John Cardona goes for a luff and fails miserably. So Parejo, with the speed, rolls John Cardona and he's first to the reach mark.
Takahshi, just being early to the line, had to luff and slow off a bit, which basically paired him to start away there. And now we've got a classic match race. One boat's got just a small lead. 70 metres is probably enough to do some defending around here. So I expect whichever mark the leader boat takes, the one behind's either going to split. There we go, straight into a split, but combated with attack straight away. So right now, lead boat's doing everything they need to control this race. And as they come off the boundary here, we're going to see attacking duel.
So attacks are going to be very crucial here. We'll see Parejo land attack right on top of John Cardona, and that's going to hurt. You can see the wind shadow of Parejo, the pink boat, just affecting John Cardona, and he's going to have to tack out straight away to clear his air. And it's not fast, but you know, a lot of things can happen. We see a lot of dark patches on the left-hand side of the course, but these two tacks can really hurt John Cardona. But he's set up quite nicely on the hip of Parejo now.
Yeah, very interesting. The wind, if you look in the top left, the little wind indicator shows much more breeze on the left side of the course than the right. So I'm surprised that the Spanish boat didn't tack and go all the way out to the boundary. And now you can see both boats are now on starboard tack, but one boat's done 2 tacks, the other one's done 4. And a lead of 60 metres increases to 160 straight away. And right now, it's looking pretty good for my unicorn friend.
And you can see that with the ladder rung on the course there. You can see Parejo is just a lot higher than John Cardona. And yeah, it's a massive lead now actually. Parejo is very comfortable. He is on the ley line as well, so that's his last tack. John Cardona has one more tack and he's not even close to the starboard ley line yet. So here comes Parejo, the pink unicorn boat from Spain, rounding first place in the match race. Jibe straight away to stay into this left-hand pressure. And John Cardona, he's got nothing to do but just to follow. He's a 300-metre lead now. And we could almost call this race over, but you know, can never call it yet.
Yeah, but you'd think the odds are stacked pretty heavily right now, wouldn't you? But we'll try and find a way to keep this race interesting as they go down the course. Once again, look at the wind indicator in the top left-hand corner of the screen. You can see much more wind on one side of the course than the other. You can see it's very close to the boundary there. On this next upwind, I expect that they're going to try and get back out there and get a piece of that breeze. As you look up the course, it's much stronger on the left. But the problem with our racing is you hit a boundary and you have to tack. So by having to tack straight away and the boat's now being on opposite tacks, this lead has shrunk massively. And there's a good chance that this lead could continue to shrink as we go upwind.
I hope someone hits a Saint-Tropez match race button as well, because the race shut down massively there. The Americans had a big lead and we were able to claw back at the bottom mark. So might see a similar thing if the breeze shuts down and we might see a big wind shift somewhere. But right now, Parejo is still making a good case to win this race.
You'd think you know, a game like this could code wind to do that.
Yeah.
For us, we just have to deal with whatever Mother Nature throws at us. But you know, surely the programmers right now could say, oh, this lead's a little bit too big, let's just soften the breeze, make the boat stop, and then bring the breeze back in when they get together. But not to be still a 90-metre lead. It might be shrinking a little bit, but it still looks like a pretty solid lead with only 2 legs to go.
That's the thing though, when it's a match race, you're focusing more on another boat at the same time. It's not a fleet race where you have to weasel your way through the fleet or not get tacked on by another boat. You're actually only focusing on another boat. But the lead's shrunk quite a bit. It's only 80, 90 metres, and you know, if there was maybe another lap, he could have done more about it, but he's not on the ley line. John Cardona has to do another tack, and Parejo rounds the top mark for the last time, is heading down to the reach mark. So we're getting closer to being over.
It really is a kind of one mistake kind of race. You know, the thing that we've always done when you're in match races is that, you know, someone generally makes a mistake which hands the lead to another boat. And then the boat in second position just waits for that mistake to come. And in this race, the mistakes never come. And we have a leader with a huge lead going to the finishing line.
So it's Parejo. He had a good start, wasn't too aggressive, and he just had more speed and rolled over top of John Cardona. So John Cardona, he'll be kicking himself for that one. It was just a simple mistake and he just washed off too much speed there. So Parejo takes a match race win, lands himself a spot in the finals.
There you have it, a 7-second lead, but in reality, it all came down to that start and that first reach. And as often it does in match racing, you give your opponent a little chance, and after that, it's really hard to get back through the race. So that was very good. It was Spanish final. Spanish winner.
Good to see. Spanish winner, yeah. Can't go wrong.
So well done to Shay Thompson for winning it all. He really stood out this race, and it's not just thanks to his unicorn boat. What made him stand out to you, Nathan?
I think, again, it's the starting. Leo was talking about the fishtailing in the start. He was pushing John Canona early. He made him early for the start, and he gapped off at the right moment. So when it was time to go, he had a better speed build. And that ultimately meant he rolled him on the start and took the lead around Mark 1 and never looked back.
Good. Leo, I knew you had some predictions in the last race, but did you think Shay Thompson would have taken the win today?
Yeah, he was very solid. So on paper, he looked like to be the clear choice because he won 2 races and a second in the qualifying races. So he's definitely got it, and he sailed very clean. And just like that in the start, he knows what he's doing, and he kept it simple and didn't make too many aggressive maneuvers. So that's how he won, and he was just sailed clean for the rest of the race, didn't make any mistakes. So very experienced gamer, and we'll be excited to see him in the finals.
Yeah, made it look so easy, and that's the kind of gaming we love to see. Thanks again, guys. You've been brilliant, and good luck with your race. Now let's catch up with our winner. Congratulations on winning. How do you feel after winning that race?
I'm very happy, and I think it's a good chance to play in the grand final. Beating to Joan, that she is currently world champion in eSailing, is very awesome. I'm really proud of my regatta of tonight.
And you managed to kind of keep him at bay. You took the lead quite early on. What was your strategy going into this race?
After winning in the start, in the first reaching, I was controlling Joan because in the mark race is the only that can catch me. So following him where he was and don't take him risk.
And now we've seen your name come up a couple of times in the other qualifier finals. Do you feel confident going into the grand final next week?
Yes, I don't know about the win. I know that all the players qualified are really strong, but I will try my best. I think that coming into the event in the last one is better for me because I will have more touch with the board.
Brilliant. I like that quiet confidence. Finally, if you don't win, will we see you back next season for eSailGP?
Yes, sure. I will try to be in the grand final again. It's a very important event of the year, and I will try my best to be here in the next year.
Well, best of luck to you. Good luck again, and congratulations for winning. See you later.
Thank you.
That certainly was a great battle, and it's going to be an even tougher one next week. Congratulations to all of our finalists who have qualified thus far. I cannot wait to see who wins next week. Who do you think the winner will be? Make sure you comment down below, and make sure you're following us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram to keep up with all things SailGP. I want to thank you all for watching all of the qualifier finals thus far. That's everything from me. See you next time.
With 5 events down, now is the time to visit the Andalusia region on the Spanish coast.
And there we go on the go.
Where the teams battle head-to-head as every point counts, with only 3 events remaining. Join us in Cádiz for the Spain Sail Grand Prix.